We are here for the One Pride podcast, and my headset just came off while I was talking to you. Happy 4th of July, everybody. That's why we celebrate, right? 4th of July, awesome. Go out there, have fun with the family, blow up some fireworks, and appreciate the time with the family and showing some celebration and love towards America. So that's what it's all about. And today, it's more about having fun and family than anything else. And so I appreciate everybody who is in here enjoying this live stream on 4th of July. So I don't expect a ton of people in today. Why is that? Because it's the 4th of July. Mike has the best Lions content on YouTube. So down. James Danello, thank you so much. And today we're going to do the mailbag segment. We're going to talk some Lions news. And I'm super, super excited to do that for you all today. Shift LM, Frank the Tank, Bo Booth in the building, as well as James Janella, Taylor, Alexis Janella. Appreciate you coming in here. A Dragon fan, Tim. The guy said so. Got deleted. Didn't see it right there. Let's see what I don't even know. I can't see it. So Lisa DeLorenzo, Kurt, Tiger Town. Alone Wolf 21, thank you for showing up in today's show. Again, we'll do the mailbag segment in about 28 minutes. Could be a little bit before, but that's what I got scheduled on for that today. So we're going to get into a lot, and I really want to do a nice little talk about a situation that occurred with one of our Detroit Lions players. That's happened really right before I went live. I seen the article and I started laughing, and so that's what we're going to do here today, is to definitely get into that. Thank you, everybody, for showing up here on this 4th of July. Make sure you go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button so you don't miss out on the latest Detroit Lions news and rumors. Again, we're going to be doing live streams as soon as preseason starts, and guess what? That's not far away, as the Detroit Lions season is right here among us. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button and get it done. For today's show here, we're going to be talking a lot about Amik Robertson, and he came out today on his Twitter, was a little bit upset with the some of the fans of the Detroit Lions, and this is what he did for a tweet. This is what he put out there. And he put out, "Dog, y'all need to bury this depth player. Shit. LOL, stop playing with me. Y'all gonna see, though, keep the same energy." So our guy right here, Amik Robertson, is a little bit salty that some fans was telling him that he is a depth player. Now, why am I talking about this right now? Because we actually talked about this on Tuesday, me and Ant-Man, and this is where looks like Amik Robertson listened to us. He was talking about how Amik Robertson is a depth player, and Brian Branch is going to be the guy. And I had a little different perspective when it comes to Amik Robertson. I think he is going to be on the field quite a bit. I just don't know exactly where. They brought him in to be a starter and an impact player, and that's what he did for the Raiders. He was exactly that. Raiders fans were sad to see him go because he was such a good player. He has a role here, and it's not simply to be a backup. He is going to do some good work for the Detroit Lions. Now, if it's going to be at nickel, then it's going to be at nickel. If it's going to be somewhere else, it's going to be somewhere else. I think it's at nickel, right? We don't exactly know how Brian Branch is going to operate or what they're going to do, but Amik Robertson is absolutely going to be a starter for this football team. He's a big piece of the cog. So I got a question for you. Will Amik Robertson be a starter? In the comment section right now? Why for yes and for no? Let's see what you guys think on here. Again, I think he is absolutely going to be a starter. That is my perspective. And so let's look at this a little bit. Let's look at Amik Robertson and what he's going up against here. So this is a safety position. Why we're talking about safety here? Because Brian Branch is also going to be in this position. And so if he's going to be out there doing on the field, if Brian Branch is playing safety, well, there you go. So you got to look at the safeties here. Kirby Joseph, Futu Melifonwu. Brian Branch is also going to be a part of this. He is a tweener type of player. So he is going to be a guy that is probably going to be the nickel. We just don't know exactly where. And here's some of the players that he's going against as well. Is Carlton Davis is going to be your number one corner. Terrion Arnold is going to be your number two. It's going to be your outside. And this is where I do believe Amik is going to be at at the nickel position, because that's kind of what he did for his team, as well as what we expect him to do for our team. And it's not necessarily a bad thing that he is in that spot. I don't think that being a nickel is a depth role anymore. I absolutely do not believe that is the case. Nickel now is a pretty big deal. And again, if you look right here, again, it's Brian Branch and Ennis Rakestraw. I do believe Ennis Rakestraw is their backup, and I do believe that Amik Robertson is going to be a starter somewhere. It's not guaranteed. He has to earn it. And you're 100% correct, Raw Detroit, talking about how he must earn this position. And I think he is going to earn the position. I do, because he was a good cog, again, for the Raiders. He wasn't a guy that was just being a poo-poo at all. Amik Robertson was a nice little piece for the Raiders. And if you see what he did with the stats, it's pretty good stats, right? He had 38 solo tackles, 1 forced fumble, 2 interceptions, 6 pass defense. And he's a nice player for a football team. Is he a certified #1 game changer? I mean, I'm not going to say that at all. But I think he's a very valuable asset to the Lions starting cornerback room. I truly do believe that. And the Lions have a good player that they're going to be seeing for some time. But he's got to earn it. And so he must go out there and earn this job. But it's nothing different than saying every other player's got to earn their job. All the starters got to earn their job. All the players that are competing on the roster right now has got to earn their job and make it to the 53-man roster. Now, I got to say about this, what I really like about Amik Robertson, and it is something that I liked about at least the corners that we got right now, like a Terrion Arnold and a Carlton Davis, is they're extremely confident. And confidence, a really good piece to have to your game if you're playing at a high level like the NFL. Is really easy to lose confidence. It's really easy for him to hear all this, oh, you're going to be a backup, you're going to be a backup, you're going to be a backup, and he just accepts it, right? The negativity. But he's not that. He's very confident, and he wants to fight for his chance to make the roster. And so I make the roster as a starter, so I love that. I appreciate that. I think every Lions fan should appreciate that. So again, I'm going to ask you, will Amik Robertson be a starter for the Detroit Lions? Why for yes and for no? Give me your thoughts in the comments below. So I like what he's doing right there. And we also got to talk about, because there's been a lot of conversation, at least for the Detroit Lions here, is, who is going to be your blue chip players for the Detroit Lions offense and defense this year, and who are those players right now? So let's go through a list of players. We're going to start with the offense here, and who I think are absolute blue chip certified stud players for this football team on offense. These are the guys that's going to be sitting there who you rely on. I think when you look at cornerstone pieces or blue chip players, you can build on Frank Ragnow. I absolutely believe he is one of those players. I think he's the best at his position. He is a guy who absolutely dominates on the line of scrimmage, but don't forget that he also gives plays to Jared Goff. He reads the defense and helps Jared Goff out. That's invaluable at the center position. It's good to have other eyes on the offense. I'm going to go with Penei Sewell. I think he absolutely is a certified cornerstone blue chip player. I think he's the best tackle in football. He is going to be there. Not only is he a great player, but he's a great leader, and he's never off the field. The guy always plays. He is a blue chip player, certified best at his position. And I think we got a blue chip backfield in the running back position. Again, Jahmyr Gibbs, to me, I know they have him rated as the 7th or 8th best running back in the NFL. I don't know what, is ESPN. I think he's the best running back in football. I don't really care what other people think. I don't care. He's a second-year player. When you look at Jahmyr Gibbs, he has got speed. He's got agility. He's patient in the pocket. He cannot be tackled. He's Chris Johnson 2.0, in my opinion. That's exactly what he is. Jahmyr Gibbs, is Chris Johnson 2.0. And when you have a player behind an offensive line like the Detroit Lions, where you got two blue chip players, so I think potential three, right? You can even potentially put in there, but really the best offensive line in football. And to me, you got the best running back in football, and it's a terror. I think he's a blue chip player for sure. I think Sam LaPorta is a blue chip player. I think he's one of the best at his position, if not the best, especially at his age. A lot of blue chip on offense. My God, what a good job when it comes to what the Detroit Lions have done, for this offense, right? Now, I think Jared Goff is not when I think a blue chip player, I'm talking about probably the best three at their position. So I don't really consider Jared Goff a blue chipper, but a great player, right? I think he's a top 10 quarterback. You can arguably do 5 through 7, right? I think that's kind of where he's at. But blue chip to me is probably 1 or 2 or 3 at their position. Defensively, I think Aidan Hutchinson is now a blue chip player. I think he's going to show his greatness this year as a blue chipper, right? He's going to go out there. I think he'll get 15-plus sacks for defense. He's one of the best at his position. Now, maybe he's not. Maybe he's just a little bit out and than other edges above him, but he is on the cusp, I do believe so, at that position. Blue chip players for linebackers. I don't think right now we have a blue chip linebacker. I think we have great linebackers, really good linebackers, but blue chipper we don't have. But guess what? You can't have a blue chipper at every position. That's just not realistic. No NFL team has that, right? I think as a secondary, I think we have future blue chip and Terrion Arnold. I don't think he's going to be a blue chipper this year. Maybe in 3 years, this guy is going to be one of those, a Cortland Sutton type of player where you're like, he's one of the best, or a Sauce Gardner type of player out there. I think he has that ability. I don't believe it's going to be this year, but that is freaking amazing. That means he did an amazing job. So I got a question for you. Is Aidan Hutchinson a blue chip player? Why for yes and for no? And also, name a blue chip player in the comment section. Maybe it's a player that I have not talked about in this video. So go ahead and do that in the comments below. All in all, I look at the Detroit Lions roster, and I've talked about this on the Huge Show on ESPN Radio. I've talked about on Lions Nation. I have talked about this on my own personal channel I'm doing right now and live, is that this team is a Super Bowl roster, 110%. This team can win a Super Bowl and get to the Super Bowl. We were in the NFC Championship last year. I think this team is better than last year's team. With that said, I do think the schedule is tougher than last year, and so maybe the record be 11 wins, or it could be the same at 12, but it doesn't mean that the team is worse than last year. I think it's much better. The secondary is completely revamped. I think this year has the potential to really make some names for a lot of players on the Lions roster. Jack Campbell, for example, I think he's going to show out a lot more. Jameson Williams, I think he's going to show out a lot more this year. And this team is good. This team can compete with any team in the NFL from the beginning of the roster to the very end. This is one of the best rosters in football, period. And to me, I love what I see from these guys. So, in the comment section right now, where do you rank the Detroit Lions roster? Where do you rank it? Do you think it's the best roster in football? 1? Do you think it's the worst in 32? Are you a Bears fan? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Go ahead and comment. 1 through 32. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Why is that? Because you don't want to miss out on the latest Detroit Lions news and rumors. That's what we got right there. So let's go ahead and continue to jump on here and talk about some things that you guys wanted to bring up. I'm not going to it's not the mailbag segment at this moment, but I just want to see what you guys are saying here. We got Raw Troy says, Gibbs is nice. I can't say he's the best running back yet in the season. He has body work in the best, and he must consistent this year. And out, Gibbs is on his way during the great things. I think he's the best in football, and he's going to prove it this year. That is my personal belief. Right now, he's going to prove it. He's so dynamic, and I absolutely love what he's doing. I do. I knew Brian Branch was going to be a line. I thought they would draft him at 18, but yeah, that did not occur, and that is absolutely funny that this popped up on there for you. But yeah, I agree. Brian Branch is awesome. He's only going to get better. I was absolutely stunned when we got Brian Branch, not because I was stunned that we would get a talent like his. I was stunned he was in the second round. I totally forgot he was even on the board. When they said Brian Branch, I just couldn't believe it because he's a top 15 talent. He fell to the second round. I just assumed he was not there. I assumed it. When they called Brian Branch, I about died, and here we go. We got one of the best players in football in our secondary. Exactly what we all talked about. 100% happy 4th of July to everybody out there. Yeah, happy 4th of July for sure, man. Appreciate everybody coming out and literally, it's the 4th of July, and we got 65 people in here. I was thinking maybe like 10 people. Ain't nobody want to be hanging out here on the 4th of July. They want to be outside and cooking. And guess what I'm doing? In a couple hours, I'm going to my woman's house, and we're going to have some family over. We're going to barbecue, shoot off some fireworks, hang out with the family. That's what this is about. And remembering what the 4th of July is, folks. There's a reason why I'm wearing I got a flag shirt on, and I got my military hat on here because I'm a veteran and I love the 4th of July. And my girlfriend's father is a Vietnam veteran. Thank you for his service. I really do appreciate him. And I want to thank all the servicemen and women who are in here, who are going to be watching this after it's done being live. Whether you're a veteran or not, I want to thank you for your service. And if you're a family member of a veteran, I want to thank you as well. It's really difficult to be in those situations. Service members, they got to fight for the country. They got to leave their families for a year or long periods of time, and they deal with nothing but combat, and it sucks, right? So I thank them for their service. But I also thank the family members who deal with it. It is not easy being say your husband's at war for a year and you're at home. That's extremely difficult. So you guys are a part of it. And in the military, if anybody's been in the military, you know this, that you have your first sergeant, right, and you have your chain of command in your unit. Maybe you got 200 people in your unit. But guess what? If you've been in the military, you know that there's wives that do the same thing. And so they come up with, things they can do with other wives in the military when they're gone. They have their hierarchy because they deal with a lot. The families of soldiers deal with a ton, and it's difficult. So thank you for your service. Thank you for serving our country. I'm a veteran anymore, so I'm not serving anymore. So I want to thank you for doing it. It's tough. You guys are the absolute and best. Every one of you. And I truly do mean that. And I truly do appreciate that. Folks, it is the mailbag segment. If you got questions, well, we may have answers. It's all about you guys. I'm going to take your questions. We're going to go ahead and go over it, and I'll probably make a video from it. Let's just get this thing started right now. Go ahead and smash that like button really quick before we get going for the mailbag segment and taking your questions. It does help the content out, and it pushes it out there. We're in the lull period right now. It is what it is. If you're watching this on a Saturday, hey, at least you get something to listen to for sure. Now, I made this mailbag segment. It is the 4th of July, so you're going to be seeing this on Saturday sometime. That's okay, because we all like it. Hope you're all having a banging Independence Day. In the comment section right now, put hashtag Lions, hashtag whatever. We're going to take your questions. It's going to be featured on a video, and that's what we do. And if I miss your question, just keep posting it. That's how we'll get to it. It's going to happen. Let's see. How long do you think the Tank plays? Frank the Tank, Ted Coleman, thank you for your question there. I think he plays 2 years. 2 more years. I'm going to go with 2 years. I don't think he retires after this year. I hope he don't. I think he'll do another year. But after that, if the Lions win a Super Bowl in the next year or two, this is what I would expect. If the Lions win a Super Bowl this year, I think he retires after it, right? If they don't, if they get to a Super Bowl, an NFC Championship, I think he plays again. I think he wants to get that. We're so close. Frank Ragnow and players like Taylor Decker, they've been on this team for a while, and they would like to see success 100%. Next question here. What on your thoughts on DJ Reader new possibly missing some of training camp? I have no problem with him missing training camp. DJ Reader is a 10-year veteran. Does he really need practice? Not really. When you've been in the league this long, you don't really need it. We know what he does. He plugs holes. He's the clogger. Okay, his job is not, is not as intense understanding scheme and stuff compared to, say, a tight end or a young cornerback like a Terrion Arnold. This guy's a veteran interior defensive tackle. His main job is stop the run. So he can miss time. It's not a big deal. He's not a rookie. So I'm not worried about it. Just hope he's ready for week 1. Will the Red Wings with the Stanley Cup with all these signings? Oh, crap, wrong YouTube channel. Well, that is definitely the wrong YouTube channel. And I hope they do. I don't really watch hockey, but I always root for the Detroit teams. Micro Mike, do you believe that Terrion Arnold will make an impact in his rookie season? Yes, I do, Raw Podcast, and I'm going to tell you what I mean by this. First off, in the comment below, do you think that Terrion Arnold is a starter? Why for yes and for no right now? Go ahead and comment. I'm going to tell you he makes an impact. First off, here's the reasons why. First, the Lions secondary has been cheeks since 2014. Last year's secondary is the worst that I've ever seen in my entire life as a Detroit Lion. It was brutal. At least the first 3/4 of the season. It got better when they made some adjustments with Vildor and Afutu Melifonwu. The adjustments did help out. So they were terrible. Terrion Arnold right now is better than any cornerback that was on the Detroit Lions roster last year besides Brian Branch, even though he's a rookie. He's instantly better than Cam Sutton, than Will Harris, than Kendall Vildor, than all of these guys, okay? He is better. Instantly right there, he's good. He's not the number one here. It's Carlton Davis. So that's going to make more opportunities for Terrion Arnold to make plays. But it is also going to give opportunities where he's going to make rookie mistakes. And people need to understand right now, it is okay for Arnold to make rookie mistakes. He is a rookie cornerback. It is going to happen. Don't destroy this guy when he does it. Every rookie makes mistakes. It's going to happen. The difference is you want to see it improve. Each game from the next game, you want to see the rookie get a little bit better and a little bit better, right? That's all we're wanting to see. I think he's going to start off strong. He's going to make mistakes, but he's going to be an impact player immediately. Lions, who is opposite of Hutchinson in the starting lineup? It's going to be Marcus Davenport right now. He is the opposite. He is the starter as of right now. It could change in training camp. Again, they do play. This coaching staff is different from a Jim Schwartz coaching staff or a Matt Patricia coaching staff. They will play the best players. They will. Malcolm Rodriguez started. He is a 6th-round pick, right? So these guys don't play around. So if he's not doing good, if Davenport is sucking and somebody else is doing good, like Mitchell Agood, who you all need to pay attention to, who is making waves, and I think he's going to continue to make waves in training camp, he as he should be. He should be. Do you see the Lions having a top 10 defense this year? I would love for me to say yes, but I can't do this right now. I just can't. We were one of the worst again last year, even though it got a lot better at the end of the year. I'm hoping to be top 16. If the Lions are a top 10 defense, then Aaron Glenn should be head coach because there's a lot of new players in the secondary right now, and they're going to make great plays, right? These guys are going to make great plays, but it may be a little bit slow to get the chemistry going. So if the Lions are a top 10 defense, Aaron Glenn needs to be head coach of a team next year, and I will be the first one to say he deserves it. Because if the Lions are a top 10 defense, the Lions are going to win a Super Bowl. I'm just telling you right now. Your offense is top 3, in my opinion. If your defense is top 10, and we already know our special teams are really good, that is a recipe for being a Super Bowl winner. Okay, so I would love it. I'm not expecting it. I will take mid-level. But they have to get above 20 for me to even think that, and it hasn't happened yet, so I'll wait. Question here. Jake Bates have a leg up on being a kickoff specialist, pun intended. A kickoff specialist? I don't think so. Jack Fox is good at kickoffs. He's been doing it for a long time. I would just keep him doing it. Jake Bates does have a gigantic leg, but I would have a guy that I know who is really good, and that's Jack Fox. So we'll just leave it to Jack. Our special teams, besides kicker is something you don't want to touch right now. Punting, the coverage unit, Dave Phipp's ability to utilize his players is really good, and we've seen Sione Vaki doing well in the new scheme or the new rules of special teams. I think special teams is going to be good. Don't want to really mess with it. Time now. Really don't want to. Let's see. What is the plan for Rakestraw this year and beyond? His plan is to develop. That is what Rakestraw is here for. He is not going to beat out Amik Robertson, in my opinion. Amik Robertson's the veteran. He's going to be on the field. Will Ennis be on the field throughout the year? Yeah, I think he will be. He'll be in special packages, maybe something that he's pretty good at early on, but he doesn't need to start right away. That's the whole point in development. And this is what's really good about this team is they will look, you didn't see Broderick Martin play last year. They developed him, and I expect he's going to play this year. They will develop players, and I think that's what they're going to do with Ennis Rakestraw, and potentially he's a starter next year. What if Carlton Davis doesn't come back? Then you could have Rakestraw, Amik, Brian Branch, right, and you got Terry and Arnold. That could be an elevation, or if they wanted to bring back Carlton Davis, you can just have a really strong unit. So, but I think his more is development this year. Hashtag F to Bears. How many weeks will it take our new secondary to gel? I'll give it week 10. I'll give it about week 10. That's 2.5 months. I think they'll gel by that time. They're really good in OTAs, in minicamp. And what's really good, what's going to make this secondary even better, faster, and gelling faster is they're going against the Lions offense every practice at training camp. Lions offense one's the best in football, so if you're going against a Lions offense all the time, it's iron sharpening iron. It's going to make the secondary in this defense even better. It really is. It really is. And so I think it will be quicker than normal, so I'll give it to about week 10, and it's doing really good, right? There's going to be points where they're going to make big-time plays this year, and then they're going to get burnt, and that's okay. But I think by that time, you'll start to see a gelling occur. Do you believe we'll have more than 15 sacks? I'm going 15, so I was taking 15. That's exactly the amount of sacks that I have. I'll go 15 right there, Frank the Tank. Do you think that Brian Branch will have an MVP type of season? MVP season, and like Defensive Player of the Year? No, I don't think that will be the case. I think he's going to have a really good year, but there's a lot of good players. Nick Bosa is a really good player for defenses, so he'll be on there as Defensive Player of the Year. I could see a situation like that. Aiden Hutchinson is going to be up there as well. I think he's going to have a significant advantage when it comes to Defensive Player of the Year. Remember, he's already got name recognition. It's year 3. He's all loved by a lot of the people in the NFL. So it would be hard for him to replicate that. If you're talking MVP itself, you can have Patrick Mahomes. Jared Goff could be in consideration there. There's a lot of other players that you could put. How will the Detroit Lions utilize Donovan Peoples-Jones in 2024? Thank you for that question there, Raw Podcast. Really like it here. Donovan Peoples-Jones is right now fighting for the number 3 wide receiver spot with Kalif Raymond. Ultimately, I think Kalif Raymond gets it, and he's going to be the number 4. He will be a DJ Chark type of player or a little bit less of Josh Reynolds. Jameson Williams is going to be your number 2. He's going to get a lot of reps. So I think that Donovan Peoples-Jones is going to be that number 4 guy who's a player that I really could compare him to a former Detroit Lion that has made some noise. Remember when Kenny Galladay just came to the Detroit Lions? He wasn't the number 1, but he was making some plays. Similar to that, so maybe he'll get 400 or 500 yards as an outside type of guy, but he could play it all. He could play outside and inside. So like 400, 500 yards, and they'll Josh Reynolds him or early Kenny Galladay him type of amount of reps and stuff he's going to get on the field. Let's see here. F-Chip, how many sacks does Hutchinson have to get to win Defensive Player of the Year? Oh, man. You'd probably have to get to 18 or 19. To do that is possible. But that's probably the route you're going to have to go. Garrett, if he gets to 20, he will win it. But that's what he's competing with, and I got him at 15 right now, so that's not far off, right? But I think 15 is a nice jump for your 3, and because he has worked on his moves, and if you watch the film, he worked on a spin move, and that spin move was getting home in the playoffs. Now, I don't really know what happened in the Super Bowl. The 49ers absolutely they took him out of the game a little bit, but we took out Nick Bosa out of the game, right? So it's just, when you have good players are going to get taken out here and there, and that's just the way it is. Aaron Donald got taken out when the Lions are facing him, so I think he'll have a nice spot for the Detroit Lions, and he'll do good this year. Question here, is there an update on Cam Sutton dispute with the Lions for the money? No update right there at all. I haven't heard anything on it beyond the fact that he signed with the Steelers. Again, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on the latest Detroit Lions news and rumors. Let's continue to go on with the mailbag segment for you guys. Thank you so much. I've just made 2 videos while talking to you, and that's what it's all about. Let's see here. Secondary will come together by week 7. The offense will come together by week 9. Very much love for the Lions. Okay, week 7, so pretty close there. The offense will come together. I think they'll be together by week 1. The offense, I have 0 worries about at all. And here's the reason why I have 0 worries about it. The Lions' offensive line is the best in football. It's number 1. The Lions' running backs duo, I'll just put all of the running backs in this team, is, in my opinion, the best duo in football. They're number 1 duo in football. David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs are the number 1 duo in football. I think we have the number 1 tight end in football in Sam LaPorta. Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of the best wide receivers. I think Jameson Williams will be fine as a number 2. I think this offense is going to continue to hum even though we don't got Josh Reynolds. Kalif Raymond is good. This offense will gel. We'll have rough points, yeah. I'm not worried about the gelling, though, at all. That's more of a defensive thing, for sure. How many sacks do you think Alim McKeon has this year? He had 5. I'll go with 7 this year. I think he'll get 7 sacks this year. He will be a Pro Bowler, and then the Lions is going to pay him a big contract. That is my belief right now on Alim McKeon. Now, after all those big contracts were signed with Jared Goff and St. Brown and Penei Sewell, I think, man, there's probably no way that the Lions could get Alim McKeon, but they can. They got the money. They can roll over some money. I think Alim McKeon is going to get paid buku money, and the Lions will bring him on, and that's great news because he deserves it. So I'll give him 7 sacks. But the problem is if we pay him after this season, his money's only going to go up if he does that, right? So if he comes out here and just kills it, and there goes the money, it's gonna have to go up. But that's a good problem to have, right? It's a really good problem to have. I'd love him to show out, win a Super Bowl, than him not. James thinks we could have the number 1 offense in football. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, is it out of the realm? Last year we were the top 3. It was the Lions, 49ers, and I think it was the Houston Texans that had the top offense in there. Even Kansas City didn't have the best offense in football, in my opinion. So, we got a real good chance to be the best offense in football. 1, 2, or 3, it's all good. That means it's great, right? They're going to have a really good offense. I think McNeil will be gone. His cap casualty. I hope he's not Jonathan Anton. It's possible. I hope he's not, because we took this guy in the 3rd round, and he developed in a stud. And when you took 4 years of development, making this guy a really good defensive tackle to just let him go out somewhere else, that would suck. We developed him. I'd like him to stay a Detroit Lion, but if we can't, we can't. And the money is the money. And maybe he wants way too much. We don't really know. But I'd like for him to be on the team because we took all this time in developing. And it takes so long to do that. I want to finally enjoy the riches or enjoy the work that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell did in developing these players and enjoy it because we've just never had that before. Why not pay him now? Well, that's between his agents and the Lions organization. Maybe Alim McNeil wants to play out this season. It doesn't mean that he doesn't want to sign with the Lions, but what if Lee McNeil's like, you know what, I bet on myself, and I think I'm going to have 7 or 8 sacks, and I don't want to sign a contract right now. It may not even be the Lions, right? So we don't know the situation. And if I'm a Lee McNeil, you got DJ Reader next to you and Aiden Hutchinson, yeah, I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to bet on myself that I can probably gain $5 million more a year. That's just me. I would probably do it. Like if he's confident. So a deal, we'll see if it gets done, but it may not even be on the Detroit Lions. Kansas City, never heard of them. We already took that W last year, and we would have took 2. And I truly do believe that the Detroit Lions would have beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I do. I think they're a better team. And Kansas City got lucky that they had to play the 49ers, in my opinion. I think they got lucky. Because if they would have faced... I don't think Kansas City was the best team in football last year. Now, they won the Super Bowl. They are the best, right? But what if Kansas City faced... I don't know. What if they had to face the Detroit Lions? What did they have to face? Even I think Green Bay could have been good on them, too, just because of how they operate. But I don't think they're the best team in football. They won the Super Bowl, making them the best. But in all honesty, I thought there was a couple teams better than they were because they struggled a lot, didn't they? But boy, oh boy, they know how to win in the playoffs, and they know how to win in the postseason. That's what makes Mahomes great. That's what makes Kansas City great. That's what makes Andy Reid great, is they are great in the playoffs, and it doesn't matter how great your roster is. If you're good in the playoffs, shoot. It don't matter, man. That's why they win Super Bowls. So, Mina Kimes and Ryan Clark said that the Lions ranked 3rd in power rankings, and we haven't even gotten to the preseason yet. What do you think about that, Mike? That's fine. Look, if you want to put the Lions at number 3 in the power rankings, number 4 at the power rankings, number 5 at the power rankings, no argument. You want to put it at 1, 2, or 3, 1 through 5. They are a top 5 NFL team, in my opinion. You got the Baltimore Ravens, the 49ers. I think they're top. Kansas City Chiefs, the Houston Texans, the Detroit Lions. They're all in the mix right there, in my opinion, as you could put them all as the best team in football. You can. You can make an argument for every one of those teams to be number 1. So I do not have an argument right there, and I appreciate them even considering the Lions at a top 5 because they're looking at it from an unbiased perspective. You just look at the rosters, yeah, they compete with anybody. So, yeah, for sure. I have no problem with that. Channel is cool. Thank you for your post from me on live podcast. That was wonderful. All the Lions players will enjoy the work and the greatest showman to date. That's why the Lions practice the hardest. Well, thank you so much for that compliment. And they love, the players love this coaching staff. They love the culture here. They're all hard workers. They were handpicked by this regime. All the players, Carlton Davis, Amik Robertson, Kevin Zeitler, Terrion Arnold, Ennis Rakestraw, Giovanni Manu, Sione Vaki, all these, Isaiah Williams as an undrafted, every player that we got on here is select handpicked by this regime. And they don't always get it right, but they do a great job. And these guys, they are all hard workers. They're very confident. They put football first. And that's what you want to see. And I love Amik Robertson getting salty about being told he's a backup. He don't believe he a backup? Good for him. I want to see him fight. I want to see if a player gets told they're a backup, say they're a starter, like a Derek Barnes or an Alex Anzalone. I want to see him like, well, you know what? You're just going to have to wait and see, right? I'm going to prove it on the field that I'm a good player, and I have a reason to be here. Kalif Raymond did that. My God, since he's been a Detroit Lion, his stock's elevated as one of the most underrated players in all of football. He could have been thrown away. There's no team that really cared about a Kalif Raymond, but he's important here, right? So, like, that's the type of players and mentality that we have in this football team, and you have to applaud it. You have to applaud it. I want Amik Robertson salty that somebody called him a backup. And I want him to come out on Twitter, and I want him to do an interview and say, no, I'm not no damn backup. I'm a starter. They want me here to win a Super Bowl. That's what I want to hear from all the players. They brought me in to win a Super Bowl, right? And that's what they all did. That's why they brought him in, and I can guarantee you they did it to win a Super Bowl. So it's so awesome to see. Last year is going to be a hard to top. It's going to be very difficult to hard to top. That means you have to win a Super Bowl, or get to a Super Bowl. That's hard. To get to a Super Bowl, it's difficult. You got to have a great roster. You got to have a great coaching staff. You got to have 3 phases that are great. You got to not be injured. You got to have luck. You got to have all this put together to win a Super Bowl. You do. How many times did a defensive player drop a pick from Matthew Stafford that would have ended that game and they wouldn't have been in the Super Bowl? It happened multiple times against the 49ers, right? The Lions had to do an epic collapse last year for the 49ers to win a Super Bowl, right? There had to be luck with the Kansas City Chiefs for the Ravens. The Ravens, they just fell apart, so it's all a part of it. And injuries are a part of it, so it's difficult, but I think the Lions can do it. Why? We have the coaching staff to do it. We have the depth to do it. If there's injuries, we know that injury is going to happen, but our depth's really good. So they can come in and play when our players are injured, when our starters are injured. The depth is really good, so you can account for injuries, right? Except for if Jared Goff goes down, and if Jared Goff went down for a couple games, I think the Lions could still win with Hendon Hooker. So the Lions are good there, and they got the indoor schedule where they're only outdoors 3 times this whole year. So they got everything's good. So I expect them to be in that position again. I do. Now, if the Lions lost Jared Goff for the year, say he gets injured week 1, you can probably throw that in the dumpster, right? I like Hendon Hooker. I don't know if he could replicate the Jared Goff success, 4,500 yards, 30 touchdowns. That would be quite difficult. I think maybe they would be a wild card team if that occurred. But other than that, they're pretty solid. Well, this year, when you see if the Ravens guess the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl, it could be here. No way Kansas City defense is underrated. The defense was awesome. The defense was better than the offense for the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's keep it 100. They were better than the offense. I felt like that was the strength of their team. They had issues at wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs. They had issues in running the game as well. So they're a great team, but you're right. Their defense was better, and that's crazy to think, but it's true. Their defense was really good. I think they had didn't they have a top 5 defense in the NFL last year? I thought Kansas City did. Shoot, we only put up 21 points on them, and our offense is great, so it just showed you, they are a good defense. Goff played every snap this year. Tough as Stafford. Yes, James Janella made a great point. We always talk about how tough Stafford is, and he is tough. He's very tough. Jared Goff's tough as well. Very tough, and that's an underrated part of his game. He takes a beating, and he still plays. But shoot, in that playoff game with the Rams, he had surgery on his finger a week before he played and won the game. Imagine having surgery on your finger and on your throwing hand and happen to win a playoff game. That's tough, man. It just shows that he's a tough SOB, even though he kind of looks like somebody from California who's weak or whatever, but he's not. He's a tough SOB. He can take the pain. And you like all players that can do that. And all the players in this team is like that. These guys, Frank Ragnow was hurting in the Bucs game for the playoffs. He was in an enormous amount of pain, and you could see it. And he played through it. That's Dan Campbell. That's the Detroit Lions in 2023 and 2024. We're a tough team. We're physical. We're hurting. We're going to play. St. Brown's hurting. He plays. LaPorta is hurting. He plays. That's the Detroit Lions, and I love to see it. I love it with every ounce in my heart. I love how this team operates. And we are literally, folks, 3 weeks away from training camp. Can you believe that? The offseason is nearly done. Training camp is in 3 weeks. Preseason, is 4.5 weeks away. Live streaming the games. Oh, my God. I cannot wait. Folks, I cannot wait. That's why you got to subscribe to the channel right now. You have to. If you don't subscribe, you're going to miss out. And the Detroit Lions have a lot coming up. The NFL season is nearly here. And I'm going to do play-by-play. I'm going to do all of that. And we're going to have a wonderful, magnificent time. And it's going to be so fun to do and enjoy. But this is the 4th of July today. And I'm going to get off here a little bit early because I got to upload some videos. And then I got to get ready to go to my girlfriend's house, have a wonderful 4th of July with the family, and do fireworks. With that said, I hope every one of you guys spend a time with family. Eat some hamburgers, grill out, enjoy the day with your family. If you got a 4-day weekend, enjoy it. I'm trying to make sure I don't have to work tomorrow. That's why I'm upping videos today for tomorrow. So enjoy it with the family. Have fun. Blow up some fireworks. Spend time with the family. With that said, folks, adios.
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring. My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great.